Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jordan Misiak. Today, let's talk about your intuition. I've been on, this beautiful journey called life for quite some time. And, I'm learning a lot. I'm continually learning more about myself and life in general. And one of the biggest things I've come to realize is how important it is to listen to my intuition. Now, Louise Hay always called it your inner ding. Like when something's like ding, like you just know. And I'm starting to really slow down and look inward instead of outward. And I'm saying this because I've discovered that I can listen to other people, but it might not necessarily be what I need. So before you stop, you're like, what are you talking about? Just hang on and I'll explain. So I have been, dealing with some weight issues and even, my candida overgrowth and in my gut and just so many different things throughout my life. And I'm sure you can relate that you've struggled here and there in different areas of your life. And I've gone blindly, like I've followed people blindly with their information. I bought books or signed up for memberships or all these different things, courses, and I just let them guide me. And I just followed along thinking like, okay, they say this is how I do it. This is how I do it. Now, here's the thing. I do really believe that information is really good. Reading books is good. Taking courses, gathering information and reading things and just educating yourself is so important. I love books and I still sign up for courses and have memberships and all that. I think it's super important. However, instead of going blindly in the direction they tell me to go, I slow down and I listen from within. And it's actually fun because here's another thing that Louise Hay always said. It was in one of her books that I've read. I'm not sure which one now. But it's, read it and then take what feels right to you. I'm paraphrasing here, by the way. Read it and then take what works for you and leave the rest behind. So it's kind of what I've been doing in my life lately. I have all this information. I'm gathering all these things. I've read so much on candida overgrowth in the gut. I have read so much on diets and weight loss and oh my goodness, just so much. And then on the flip side, I've also read a lot about business and this and that. So I've gathered a lot of information. And sometimes too, the information is counterintuitive. Like one thing says one thing and then the other thing says another. And you're like, look what's going on. So instead of frustrating myself or to feel like I'm torn between two different directions or three or four, I've decided that I know what I need deep down. So I don't know everything, right? That's why I read books. I listen to courses or I'm in memberships and I follow other people, their information and things like that. However, I don't take step by step the way they, do this, do this, do this. I might do it, but first I have to check in with me. And like I said, so with weight loss, I followed some really crazy stuff. I've been, we're not going to go, this is not a weight loss episode, but for instance, because I've been on off and on diets since probably 12, it's so insane. So now I'm in my 40s, just turned 40 in November, this past November. And I'm discovering that I've really treated my body unfairly. And now I'm getting back to more healing myself in a loving way. And it's really empowering. And it's taking a little bit of time to really ground myself in this loving energy and knowing that I can heal myself naturally and I don't need to deprive myself of things. And I can look at food differently instead of this villain of things. And exercise is this villain of I must do it. It's torture and things like that. So I'm really coming around. But my journey through this diet industry has been long. And here's the thing. I remember, I was in my early 20s or maybe, probably mid 20s. And I was eating a lot of fat-free things. And now it's they take out the fat and replace it. It was probably sugar. So instead of looking at the labels. Like I do look at labels, especially with the candida overgrowth. I need to make sure there's no sugar in my food. But for the most part, I like to try and get as close to nature as possible. And to me, that's more important than these fad diets and things like that. So anyways, like again, I'm not going on this, this is not an episode about weight loss and diets. But what I'm sharing is I've latched on to other people's ideas and wisdom or lack thereof sometimes, and what they thought would be right. And what I really could have done was take a pause and be like, does this feel right to me? And then maybe I don't know. And that's the thing. That's where we can sometimes go down the wrong path. But it's about how do I feel, right? So I could be eating these things. Like, how do I feel? There are so many things I've done with business too, where I blindly followed a business coach that took me in the wrong direction. Now, I'm not blaming anybody here. I am like, they thought they could do what they could do, right? And it's all about owning our power, knowing that deep inside, you know what's right for you. And that's what I'm trying to get across today. So I'm not blaming anybody on my journey that shows up. In fact, it just strengthened myself and like my knowing that like, wait, like I followed the wrong path. And it's like, right, I need to listen to myself. So again, I love gathering information. You should see my office. It's a ton of books. I love books. I have a ton of audio books, and I love knowledge. I love taking in information. The thing is, not all the information I take in is for me. So it's finding a way to listen to your own intuition. And I hope that makes sense. So knowledge, information, all these things are so amazing. But it comes down to you. What do you truly need? And is that information right for you or not? And you're like, how do I know? And a really good start is just to start to get to know yourself more. Slow down, feel like what's showing up for you. Are you feeling anxiety right now because you're like, oh my goodness, I have to decide. I can't just follow somebody else's path. Check in with that. Like, why do you need to have somebody else tell you what to do? Maybe you've always been told what to do and it just feels better that way. Or like whatever it is for you. So it's just really taking some time to understand what's showing up for you. What are you feeling? What are you maybe not feeling? Maybe you're not feeling excited right now, thinking like, oh my goodness, I've listened to my intuition and things like that. Maybe it's scary. Maybe it's unknown. We are the drivers of our lives. We are the ones in control of which way we go. And it's so good to take in other people's wisdom, knowledge, people that have gone down the same path that we'd like to go or similar path, because no two paths are the same. We all have our own unique spin on everything, and we all bring something beautiful and unique to this world. And that's why it's so important to remember this when you take in somebody else's information and knowledge. My story is going to be different than your story. However, there's parts of my story that you'll relate to most likely, or maybe. And that's what brought you to this episode, this podcast in general. And you'll relate to some, but our lives aren't identical. And that's totally okay because we're all unique and beautiful in our own ways. So it is time to look within. What is your intuition saying? I feel like you might have been guided to this episode today so you could look deeper into what you truly need. Not what other people have told you need, but what you need. And I say this with so much love because I have spent so much of my life following what I thought other people expected me to do. Go to college, do this, do that, get married before children, and all this, these things, one step in front of the other. And I always, did what was expected of me instead of what I wanted to do. And it comes from people pleasing. I was very much a people pleaser. I'm a recovering one now. And I still fall into those habits because it's been so long. Of like most of my life, I've been people pleasing. And it was when moving moving across the country, I had all this fear because I'm like, oh no, what are my parents going to feel like moving away from family? And it was almost paralyzing, like the fear I had, until I really grounded myself in who I really am, what my needs are, and how I'm feeling, that I could finally take those steps to do what was right for myself and my family. And I don't regret a single moment of it at all. Do I miss my family? Heck yes. But on a daily basis, my life is so much more calm and peaceful, and I just feel so much more fulfilled in my surroundings. Like I get to walk to the ocean every day if I want to, and the mountains are my backyard. Like it's just so beautiful. Anyways, but that's what I want. So today, I encourage you to take some time and just think about, what do you truly want? What do you truly need? And if things are popping up, write them down. Are they other people's beliefs? Is it something you've learned throughout your childhood? And it's trying to find that way where you separate your beliefs versus other people's beliefs. And it's really getting to your core values. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to show up? How do you want to be remembered? And those are really good questions to start with and see from there. And to listen to your intuition, try to slow down occasionally and just take a couple deep breaths and just see if you can hear anything. Every time I followed my intuition, I have not been steered in the wrong direction ever. Like when I follow it, I am always, always grateful that I did. I hope this has helped. And I really do encourage you to start listening to, like Louise Hay always said, your inner ding. Start listening to when your heart, your inner being is saying, I want to do this. And, outside worldly voices say, you shouldn't do that. You should do this. And start listening to your own self. And again, information and knowledge around you is so good because it will help guide you. And as you know what's right for you and what's wrong, like you'll start reading things going, ooh, I don't love that idea. That doesn't mesh well with my values. And you can start figuring out what's right for you and what's not right for you. And you'll kind of have a better understanding the more you listen to your intuition. And when you start creating a deeper, loving relationship with yourself. So by slowing down, asking yourself the questions, journaling, and just really getting to know yourself, your intuition will start getting louder and louder, and you won't be able to ignore it any longer. Or at least it'll be a little slightly harder to ignore. I hope this has helped again. And thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for you. Take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.